Hey everybody, welcome back. Today is April 1st, 2021. My name is Carey Holzman. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Some of you with a keen eye may notice a little change on the streaming computer. Let me step over here and I'll see how many of you are going to notice it. It seems appropriate for my broadcasts lately. So we're going to just have that guy right down there, and he'll be there to remind us that there are lots of squirrels and we better keep an eye out for the squirrels. Okay, so there you go. Just kind of keeping up with the times. Watch that from time to time. It's going to change in the future and I won't necessarily draw your attention to it. So for those of you who notice it, it's a little gift for you guys. Hey, I hope everybody's having a good day today, and I hope that you haven't been fooled today. I'm not doing any fooling today. I don't have time to fool around. I am seriously backlogged because I've been doing too much fooling around, but not today. Today, here's what I'm doing. I've got so backlogged that it takes too much time on camera to do a full build. So I'm separating the builds into two separate kinds of videos. One is the motherboard preparation portion, which is putting in the RAM, putting in the M.2 solid state drive, installing the CPU and the CPU cooler, if it's not a liquid cooler, updating the BIOS, installing Windows, and then, you know, if there's like a little plastic standoff on some of these boards, I'll add that too. So that the second part of the video, which may come days or weeks later, will be putting the motherboard into the case and then cabling it all up. So that'll be, for me, a far more efficient way to get things done, and I won't be spending, you know, marathon streams trying to build one computer. So far, I've got a couple of motherboards already prepped, some on camera, some off camera. The motherboard we're prepping today is a micro ATX board. It is going to be destined for the mini version of the black helicopter case from Thermaltake that you guys, I hope, saw in a series of videos that I did building that beast of a computer. Tomorrow, Mitch Morrison joins us for the motherboard I prepped previously on video, also a micro ATX board. I may not have prepped it on video, come to think of it. That board's going to be AMD. It's an AMD 3900X with the Wraith RGB cooler and the G.Skill RGB RAM, same RAM we're using in today's build, because both the ATX miniature black helicopter case and the round tube case that we're featuring tomorrow have case windows where you can see the RGB inside, versus the Be Quiet case that Mitch and I did last Friday, where there's no panels at all. You can't see in there. So I actually just removed the RGB RAM out of there because I can just save some money, put regular RAM in there. Nobody's going to see the RGB and that PureBase 802 that has no case window. I also need to get the PureBase 802 back up on the bench to test the cooler. So just like I said, more and more and more and more to do. I finally got the last part, I think, for the Xenos build, and I need to finish that. And I think I'll finish it off camera. I'll show you guys the completed project. And in the future, when it comes time to upgrade it, I'll break it down and rebuild it live on camera, because now, or rather then, when it's in that built condition, and I've been familiar with the assembly and disassembly process, it should be no big deal to make a number of videos featuring that blue Xenos G3 case. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, Google Xenos, which is spelled XYNOS, or go to xynos.com. Look at the Xenos G3 in blue. So yeah, so I want to prep this board so it's ready to rock and roll for installation into the mini black helicopter Thermaltake AHT200 case. And speak of the man, Mitchell Morrison joins us in the chat room. Welcome in, Mitch. Hello to Hugh Wong and Mike Ladd and Craig Lilly and Jim KJ3N and Ghost Shadow. Welcome in, Chris L. AC's drafting. Good to see you, my friend. I'm going to build two low-end budget computers. I just want to get some stuff out of the way before I get started. What I'm going to do, I've got a couple of Core i5 9600Ks. What do I have? Hold on, I got to look at what it is. I don't even know. That's a Core i7. What is it? What do I do with them? I don't even know where they are now. I thought I had them back here, but oh, okay. 9600K. All right. I've got like an i7-7700 and like a Core i5 9600K. And what I was thinking I would do is grab a couple of cheap motherboards like Socket 1151 H370 gigabyte boards, put it into an inexpensive case. I know I have an extra case laying around, plus I can always get those Corsair 200Rs, which are very affordable. No video card, we'll just use onboard video, and we'll put in a low wattage, 450 or 500 watt power supply. Again, trying to keep the budget as cheap as I can get it. And I need to build 2 of these. And the reason I need to build 2 of these is I have these parts. And these parts have no customer, and they don't really have a build video. The reason why I bought them no longer exists. And I thought what I would do is, if you're a regular contributor here to the channel, I want to offer those to you at a severely discounted price, maybe even free, depending on who you are and how much you've contributed. So, and Tony Wallow can speak to this. I sent Tony 2 computers. Tony's, I'm sure, more than paid for both of those and all of his contributions before and since. And so I'd like to sort of, what's the word I want? For the people who were generous to me, I want to be generous back to them. I want to strengthen that loyalty both directions. And I want to reserve these low budget builds for the people who contribute a lot. So, like, and I don't know what a lot of these folks have at home, but maybe somebody like Luke Greenia or Rick Lakes, and I'm just naming names off the top of my head. If I fail to mention you, don't feel like you're not included. It just means my brain only holds so much information. But I'm probably thinking of like people that have been contributing for quite a while, AC's drafting, folks like that. And even if it's a computer that's weaker than what you have now, but that it's something you can give to somebody you care about, I'm okay with that. I want to return back to you. And there's Tony again with $99.99 contributed in the live chat, which is very generous. You looking for a third computer, Tony? And so if you're, yes, Jason Wyrick says it perfectly. I want to give back to the givers. Now, I don't care how much you've contributed. I care, what I'm focusing on is that it's been frequent, that I see you often in the chat room, and often when I see you, you're contributing. Could be $2, could be $5, whatever it is. When somebody does that as often as many of you do it, that adds up to hundreds of dollars. It would probably, if not pay for the computer, either come close or eventually will if you continue to do that. And for others have contributed far more than what the cost of this computer would be. They've already done that, some of the names I've mentioned. So I have, it kind of helps me to sleep well at night knowing we're making that bond. So the shirts, the question Scott's asking about the shirts. I wanted to put an order in, this will give you an idea of how busy I am. I wanted to put the order in for the shirts on March the 1st. I showed you the shirts in February. I've been working with a gentleman named Jim on designing the shirts and the material that the shirts are made from for over a year. We finally got a good material, we got a good design, we got the prices, we got the colors. I showed them to you guys, and I said, let's give it a couple weeks, we'll take orders, and just let me know. I said, don't send me any money yet, just let me know so I can get an idea of how many we're gonna order. And still, some people paid ahead of time. And I haven't gotten to it yet. I've had so many pressing matters that I have not been able to get to the shirts. What I'm going to do, if you've sent me an email about the shirts and you've not heard from me, I'm gonna make a video that's unlisted, and only people who have the video link will be able to see this video. And those are everybody who has asked for a shirt and in some cases prepaid. I'm going to reply to each one of you individually with a copy and paste of the link to this video that's going to describe what the process is to pay and verify the size and color and quantity of shirts that you want. I want to make sure, give you one last chance to change your mind. And then I'll have a deadline. Like I'm going to order on, whatever, probably 2 weeks after I make that video. So if you haven't paid for your shirt by that deadline, then I'm going to assume you've changed your mind and you don't want one. That's going to be a big order of shirts. We're looking at probably around 100 t-shirts of 8 different sizes and 4 different colors, and you can add the combinations. And I'm going to have to pack, they all have to be shipped to me in bulk, and then I have to separate them out and figure out which ones go to which. And I'll probably send out maybe, I don't know, a dozen a week until they're gone. So it's going to be a little bit of a wait. But it's just me. I don't have any help here. And with the pandemic, I don't want any help here. But I'll get through it. And after that, we'll see what I have left over. Again, there may be some people in the interim that change their mind. Maybe they want a refund. Maybe I don't know. So we'll have some extras. And I'll order a few extras. And I'll let you know when all that's done, what I have left over. And if anybody wants what I have left over, of course, it's first come, first serve. And then we'll give it a few months, and then we'll do it again, hopefully in a more organized, less chaotic way, because I don't think as many people order the second time around. Because once you've got one, it should last for a while. A couple other contributions have come in, so let me give a few shouts out to these generous folks here in the community. Let's see, we've got AC's Drafting contributed 20 bucks. Hey, thank you, Aaron. Tree Fry with $5. He says, "You're like the computer dad I never had. Watching your vids helped me build my computer. I love you and your content, man." Right on. Well, we'll make sure you're blue here in the chat room. Thank you so much for telling me. That means a lot to me. I am honored to be your computer daddy. That sounded wrong. Who's your daddy? Your computer daddy. I used to get beat up for this, and now it's cool. So here's hope to all you kids in school getting beaten up. Maybe it's not hope at all. Don't do anything drastic. It could be even better than this. It could be way better than this. But from my perspective, this is way better. Squirrels. Squirrel. Mike Podekowitz, welcome in. Says Catherine is best at helping out with PC parts. Agreed. No argument for me. Catherine lives in Colombia. I can't send these computers outside of the United States, or I would gladly send one to Catherine. I'm hoping. Okay, we're going to try one more time and see if we stay connected this time. As a reminder, I am in this secondary location where my internet, as you can see, sometimes it's fantastic and sometimes not so much. We just had a not so much moment. I'm going to blame the squirrels. So hopefully everybody can see me again. I can't even see myself. Something, my video feed has gone down, so I'm going to try and recover my video feed. Let's hope it's back. Okay, my apologies for that. Hopefully it'll stay steady the rest of the stream. And then do I lose all my viewer activity? No, thank goodness. Okay, so Colin G contributed 20 pounds. It says, looking through my box of assorted useful bits, I found 2 sticks of memory, a PC 164 megs SD RAM, not DDR. He's talking SD RAM, 168 pin RAM. He says, I'm showing my age. Yeah, I'm sure that's coming. That's going to make a comeback any day now. Blackwatch with $5 Canadian says, I missed the first live, so now I'm playing catch up. Tony Field contributes $10. Thank you, Tony. Chris Dunn, or is it Chris Dune? Contributes $4.99. He says, good to see you again. It's been a long time. Hey, welcome back, Chris. Good to see you too. AC's Drafting contributes $50. He says, Uncle Carey, the PC daddy. Why do I keep sounding creepier? I think Uncle Carey was riding the edge, and now the PC daddy just pushed me over the edge. Thomas Backenstow contributes $10. He says, awesome stuff tonight, Carey. Hey, thanks, Thomas. Thanks, AC. Thanks, Chris and Tony and Blackwatch and Tony Wallow, of course. And Colin G. Hey, thanks, guys. Yeah, maybe take that RAM, Colin, over to the Antiques Roadshow. Maybe you'll get something for it. Let's hope this internet connection stays up this time, huh? I don't know when it went down, so I'm not quite sure where I was before the squirrels chewed through my wireless connection. I don't even know how you can do that. So anyway, what I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted by my hotspot was I'm going to build some low-budget machines. This is not like me. I don't normally build low-budget machines, but I still wouldn't build an i3 or a Ryzen 3. I mean, for a few bucks more, just at least do the 5, man. Come on. Times can't be that bad. And I want to offer these 2 low-budget machines either at a severe discount or completely for free to frequent contributors here on the channel. But you got to be in the United States, as my way of saying thank you. And well, maybe those who contribute the most are the least in need of a new computer. I'm hoping they might be able to give it to somebody they know, or they might want to hold on to it because it came from me, right? It's not about the gift, it's the thought behind the gift. So you could say, well, this is my main machine, and you can read off all the specs, and then you can have a clean Carey Holzman build with no RGB and nice cable management, and have my autograph on the side and the date, and that'll be like a little piece of art if you want to treat it that way. Or not. You can smash it with a hammer and say, here's what I think of Carey Holzman, and make a video out of it and go viral. You know, it's up to your imagination. Or you can gut it and make it something respectable. Actually, the i5s that I'm building would challenge, I believe, even most new computers being sold in retail stores. These pre-builts, probably smoke them, no problem. So any event, so if you're a frequent contributor here and you want to nominate yourself for that, please drop me an email directly. And I'm talking to you, Rick Lakes. Thank you for the $10 contribution, Rick, and all of your support. And you know who you are, Madi Yoel. Anybody that is a frequent, it doesn't matter how much, just that you're a frequent, been a frequent contributor, and I'm hoping that you will continue. But in the meantime, I just want to, as Jason Wyrick said, give back to the givers. And that's what we're going to do with those 2. And there might be more than 2, but we're going to start with those 2. Just, I need to do something different. I need to mix it up. And I also need to show that for people that have a really tight budget, you could still build a really good computer. You don't have to have an i7 or an i9 or a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9. You can do quite well with a Ryzen 5 or a Core i5. And you know, even just 8 gigs of RAM and a solid state drive and a power supply and some kind of case to slap it all in, you're good to go. And you can do that for under $500. And I'm telling you, that will still be faster and more powerful than many computers most consumers buy at retail box stores that are pre-built. So it's still going to be a good computer. There's this sort of snobbish, you know, if it's not an i7 or 9, people, it's not good enough. You know, if it's not the latest socket, if it's not the latest whatever. But I don't think the vast majority of computer users have that attitude. But the ones that chat the most on the internet, the users or the end users who are the most visible online are not average computer folks, generally speaking. So I'm hoping that by watching me build these machines that you'll see what I consider to be minimum budget So if you're considering building minimum budget, I hope that you use this as your bar. Don't go lower than this. Red Dragon contributes $5. He says, it's nice to be back. I missed your shows, and hello to all the fans. Hey, welcome in. Not fans. I don't like that word, fans. Community. We're all a community here. Yeah. And there's Joe Bush. Joe's another one. Joe frequently contributes, and certainly would, and he's local, so shipping on that would be free. We'll have to talk about that, Joe. Maybe we can help each other out. Photo Ray says, Carey, so if I only thought about giving a gift, does that thought count? Well, Photo Ray, you've done more than that. You've helped in the past creating thumbnails. You're continuing to help Mike Smith. You were there, the group photo we took at Tech Vets all those years ago. This amazing, beautiful photo was done by Photo Ray. He is very, very good at what he does. So Photo Ray, I'm in an IOU situation as far as my perspective is concerned. And while I know you were joking, if there's something I can do to help you, please feel free to reach out. It would be my honor. I'd like to level the playing field. When Photo Ray was helping me out, the YouTube channel was much, much smaller, and the YouTube revenue was not enough for me to live on. So I didn't have anything to give Photo Ray, nothing significant, because I didn't have anything to give. It's doing better, and I'm in that position of certain things, like, having spare computers, that I can do that. So may not be powerful enough for what Photo Ray uses it for, but like I said, it doesn't have to be for yourself. Mike Podokowicz contributes $5. He says, here's $5 to get the squirrels some nuts. Right on. Ghost Shadow said, my last system was over 5 years old. My current system is 2 years old, and my current issue is storage. I've got 4 8-terabyte drives, a 1 terabyte NVMe, down to only 3 terabytes of available space. Yeah, you really roughing it there. I mean, how do you get by from day to day? I mean, how do you even have enough space to get your email? Catherine Anna Hauserman's volunteering her help to help people put together build lists for computers. If you want to build a computer, and the problem is you don't necessarily want to follow one of my build recipes, you want to use different ingredients, but you need the recipe to come out the way you want it to be under your budget, regardless of what country you live in, reach out to Catherine Anna Hauserman, and she will do that in exchange for you saying thank you. So if you're not willing to say thank you, please don't ask her. By the way, that's my rule. Catherine doesn't really care, but I do. Catherine's far too nice. So let's keep her that way. Desert Scorpion contributes $5. Hey, thank you, Desert Scorpion. Those are words I never thought I'd say out loud. I hate scorpions. We've got so many scorpions. Well, this location, it's okay, but my other one, constantly. Like, it's a regular. I'm going to start naming them, like collaring and tagging them. No, I kill them immediately and flush their carcass down the toilet. Was that a scorpion moment? Anyway, thanks for bringing that name up, but thank you for the contribution. Nuts013 contributes $4.99. Says, here's a donation to keep that i9 under 80 degrees. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be okay. We'll talk about that in a minute. Planet Cryos with $5 says, hey, my friend. Hey, Planet Cryos, that's also available to you as well. And like I said, anybody who's contributed regularly, you know who you are, okay? It would make me feel good I wish I had a machine to give to every one of you, but I got to start somewhere, and it's going to make me feel good inside to give back to the people who are giving to me. Okay? So don't do it for you. Take my computer, damn it. All right. Let's get that out of the way. People are going to learn eventually that when a video goes live, whatever the subject of the video is, wait a half an hour, okay? It's sort of like when you go to see a band. You know there's going to be an opening act. You know they're not maybe going to start on time. You know they're going to probably play for an hour. So you show up an hour later if you're only interested in seeing the live band that you pay the ticket for. It's kind of like that over here. But the concession stand prices, oh. Mortmont1210 contributes 20 bucks, says, Catherine did my build list and the computer is awesome. Mortmont, you are not the first person to tell me that, but it'll never get old hearing it. I've never once had one person say to me, I talked to Catherine Anna Hauserman, she gave me a parts list, and this whole computer sucks and things are not compatible or don't fit or they don't work together. It's always people sharing what an amazing experience it is, because you have to understand what I do, I'm doing for all of you. What Catherine does is specifically for you. In other words, when you reach out to her and you say, I want to build a computer, and I live in Slovakia, and my budget is whatever the money is they use in Slovakia, and Catherine will actually go through the effort of finding out what parts are, like looking at shops, I guess. I don't know how she does it, in Slovakia. Putting the parts list together that are available in Slovakia in that Slovakian price budget, and then present it to that person for free. So that makes what she does far more valuable than what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is much more generic. I'm talking to what, 300, 400 people, right? And then after it's live, it goes to a few thousand views. Nobody's going to know what Catherine did except for the person she helped. So I think that says a lot about Catherine. Now, oh, another contribution. Here we go. Alvin Shaver contributes $2. Thank you, Alvin. All right, now let's start prepping. I'm going to be using the Intel Core i9-9900k on this build. This cooler is Silverstone's one-size-fits-all cooler. And what I mean by that is it's actually TR4 Threadripper compatible for socket. That's very unusual. A lot of coolers are made specifically for STRX4 and TR4 sockets that are the two generations of Threadripper. And it's compatible to basically all the current chips that you can buy, and chips you used to be able to buy going back a couple of years. And it sells for like $160. This is a 240 millimeter radiator. So it's got two ARGB 120 millimeter fans and an ARGB liquid pump. So if you plug this into a motherboard that has ARGB headers, then you can use the motherboard's RGB software. You don't have to download software from Silverstone. You can download and have everything synchronized with your motherboard with one piece of software. So when manufacturers do that instead of coming out with their own proprietary software and design, I really appreciate that. And it's affordable, and we'll see how well it works at keeping this i9-9900k cool. I think it's going to do a great job. But I do need to mount this in a case to make this work. So I won't be prepping this. There's no prepping the cooler, because the cooler gets prepped basically in the case, not to the motherboard. So I'm going to set this aside, and we're going to use this Noctua air cooler right here as our temporary solution. And the reason I selected this cooler is it's going to be super easy for me to install it, and then super easy for me to remove it so that I can use it on another project in the near future. I just need something to be on there for like a couple days. It's not even going to be a day. It's going to be on there for a couple of hours. And tomorrow, during tomorrow's build video, Mitch and I will take this cooler off. So we're going to leave it on for today's prep. And that way I can, do the Windows install and everything on here. And that'll make tomorrow's video move along a lot quicker. See the madness in that? The genius in that? So let me set this aside because we don't need this just yet. So all that leaves for motherboard prep right now is the SSD, the RAM, which is the Trident G.Skill, G.Skill Trident Z Royal. I like this. When you can see it, it's beautiful, and it's been compatible with AMD and Intel systems regardless of the motherboard. I don't know what's up with that, but that makes me very happy, so I bought a lot of it. But if a case doesn't have a case window, I'm not using it. So even though I don't really care about RGB, some RGB doesn't get on my nerves. Let me put it this way. I'm not a fan of country music, but some country music I like. There are exceptions to the rule. I was going to say some country music doesn't get on my nerves, but that didn't sound quite complimentary enough, but I was trying to tie it in. Never mind. Okay, so the solid state drive, the RAM, and of course the CPU all go on the motherboard. Today's motherboard is Gigabyte Z390 M Gaming. It's a gaming motherboard from Gigabyte. It's an LGA socket 1151, and it features high durability onboard audio design. Really? What else? Tell us more, Mr. Announcer. Alrighty then. It's got 10+2 phases digital VRM solution with low raw DS on MOSFETs. It features Intel's GBE, how do you say that? GBE LAN with CFOS speed. Is there anything in English I can read? Anything at all? Am I reading the script of Star Wars? Is this one of the, no, that's actually the, okay. I read this. These are just letters. I don't try to pronounce GBE. No, just GBE. Do I say the uppercase G and the lowercase B? Just don't, okay. Intel's GBE LAN with CFOS speed internet accelerator networking. Smart Fan 5 temperature sensors and hybrid fan sensors with fan stop. High durability onboard audio design with dual NVMe PCIe Gen 3 x 4 M.2 connectors. Features 4K support, HDMI compatible, AMD Crossfire compatible, Intel CNVI Wi-Fi upgradable. That's that little Wi-Fi card, that goes in laptops. And the dual BIOS, a feature of Gigabyte boards. It supports 8th gen Intel Core processors with the LGA 1151 socket utilizing the Intel Z390 chipset. For the graphics interface, it's got one PCIe 3.0 x 16 and one PCIe 3.0 x 4. The display interface built into the board, if your CPU has an onboard graphics card, it offers HDMI and DVI-D outputs. Memory type is dual channel DDR4 with a maximum capacity of 4 modules. There are 2 PCIe 3.0 x 1 expansion slots and 6 SATA 3 ports with 2 M.2 ports. Supports RAID level 0, 1, 5, and 10 with the Intel GBE LAN. And of course, another M.2 slot for the Intel CNVI wireless upgrade. The board features one USB 3.1 Gen 2 with USB Type-C support. That's in the back of the board. One USB 3.1 Gen 2 Type A plus. Oh, well, I guess the plus means and. They're right next to each other on the back of the board. And then it's got 6, yes, I said 6 USB 3.1 Gen 1 and 4 USB 2.0 ports. Many of these ports you have to plug into the board and provide, like they're built into the case or memory card reader. So, do you like that? There's a little treat for you. I'm looking through the chat room for a minute to see your reaction to my silliness. Yo Midor contributes $4.99 and says, "Can I have a PC, please?" If you keep contributing like that on a regular basis, after a couple of months, I'd be happy to talk. And Charles Roberts with $4.99 says, "Thanks for all the lessons from years back." Hey, right on. Thank you, Charles. Have I played with a 11600 CPU yet? 11600K. No, but I have one arriving next week. Futuristics in Motion contributes $5. He says, "When are you going to build a crypto mining rig?" Well, should I do that? If I put this project and then I do that one and then I take care of those and then maybe I could squeeze it. How about never? No, I have no interest in that. AC's drafting with 20 bucks. Hey, thank you again, AC. He says, "To the motherboard announcer, well done." All right, I'll let him know. Made my throat dry now. I need more Gatorade to keep going here so I can continue. Do I not entertain you? And before I trip and break my ankle on camera, I will move that box out of the way. Okay. Oh, did I say that out loud? Okay, so 40 minutes in. All right, prepping the board. I must have I've had this out of the box before. I don't know why. My first thought was, oh no, is this another returned product? But no, I use this in something. I've got a video featuring this board, and I don't know why. I can't remember anymore. I may not even be making these videos for you guys. It may just be like my memory is so bad. I might have to go back and see what I did yesterday. Okay, so here is the board, and in the box, this is why I say this is all. There's also supposed to be a piece of cardboard that separates the two. So obviously, I had my hands in here. This looks like my handiwork. I'm gonna need this. I don't need that. But we'll put all the instructions and spare parts, like for the cooler, that go in the box, along with the power cable for the power supply that we end up using. And let's grab, let's see, where is this? Ah, here we go. Oh, I love my friends in blue taking care of business. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you. Keep up the good work. And let them wear themselves out, man. I could go put the chat room in slow mode. You know, looks like that's what they want me to do. You don't have to time those people out. You can just hide them on the channel. I'm cool with it. I'm kind of enjoying the entertainment. I kind of want to sit here and watch for a while. Ah, here we go. Nice. Come on, who's gonna get them first? Who's gonna get them? Jeff Jankowitz. Nice job. Franco Faji, oh, why'd you time him out? You should have hit him entirely, man. Give him the axe. Oh, and then Jeff gets him, and then Michael Dane gets him. Oh, he's down 1, 2, 3, 4 times, ladies and gentlemen. He's not getting back up. Ooh, that's gotta hurt. Let's watch this one. Let's see what's going to happen in the chat room, folks. Oh, he was trolling around there like there was nobody around, and then slam, headshot. Jim KJ38N was too kind. He only timed him out. He should have hidden him. You should have hidden him, Jim. Come on, man. We know we're dealing with one person here. So you don't have to say, well, maybe that's someone different. No, it's the same person. So when stuff like this happens, you know, I told you guys I don't want you to hide anybody, but there are sometimes exceptions like this. And then we can have a little fun with it. It doesn't have to be annoying. See how attitude can change your outlook on so many things in life, you know? Now, me personally, I would be annoyed by that. It's disruptive. But on the other hand, if I make lemonade out of it, it can be quite fun. And if these people want to help me make more money, I mean, I'd be a fool to discourage them, wouldn't I? But I'll let you discourage them because I am greatly entertained. I love it. You got to remember, I used to have to deal with this. Think about this for a minute. What you're witnessing in there, I used to have to deal with this all by myself. And now I have all these friends in blue that are looking out for me that are just nipping these guys in the bud so fast. It's like they can't even get out of first gear and they're already gone because you guys are on top of it. And before it was just me and I had to sort of, you know, try and maintain that while I'm trying to do work, while I'm trying to make sure the camera's in focus and my audio battery, you know, my audio line is going up and down and I have audio going out. And I'm checking to make sure I'm in frame, and I'm, you know, it's a lot. So you guys doing that for me is like, you have no idea how much I appreciate that. Mike Britton contributes $10. He says, good evening from those of us down here in God's waiting room. That's Florida. Haven't been on here in a while. Always good to see Uncle Carey in the chat with all the good folks here in the chat list. Right on. Well, thank you. You want me to turn on slow mode? Yeah, I can turn that on. There we go. Slow mode is enabled. The problem when I do that is the history of viewer contributions gets erased. Now I have no idea who gave me what, but you know, I do appreciate, and I know I said thank you at the time, but I like to read the list of contributors off at the end of every video, and I won't be able to do that on this video now because I had to make that change. So, so thank you, Mike. Ghost Shadow with $5 said, I reported him to YouTube. Mike, get him blocked from making new accounts. Well, YouTube's got automation that'll do that for you. It's YouTube uses AI in a lot of things, and the AI is really good at punishing content creators. Let's hope it's half as good as punishing, you know, the abusers. But it's there regardless. Sean says hello. Hey, Sean. Fabian Barth, welcome in, Fabian. Contributes $2.99. Appreciate that. So they, so the slow mode is now on, so they can't slam so many messages in a row. They weren't getting that many out anyway, but now they will only be able to get one. So, yeah. Well, that was fun. So again, my friends in blue, thank you. So my friends in blue are helping me. I'm going to focus on this. The first step in prepping our motherboard, for me, I just like to put the CPU in, I have to slow down. I would like to put the CPU in first because it's one of the easiest components to install and it doesn't get in the way of installing components around it. This is a pain in the rear end to open this. It's terrible for the environment that this is going to sit in a landfill. It has no secondary purpose. It can't really be recycled. So I think this is going to be dug up in 1,000 years' time, and they're going to have to figure out what we were worshiping here. Now, I've opened a few of these, and I thought I was pretty good at it. But the last one, it was off camera, thank goodness, because I was like, whew. It was like I didn't have thumbs. I'm hoping I don't have a repeat of that event. But if so, you were warned. There's 2 pieces of tape, one on each side that hold it on, and that's how I know where it splits. Otherwise, even that can be like, well, does it split here or does it split there? Okay, so you go to where the tape is. All right, well, that's... Come on now. I'm trying not to score the plastic, like, who cares? All right, now with the tape there, this should split this way. Should just be really easy to open. I can see it. There it goes. I'm getting there. I'm getting it. It's happening. This is just totally super easy for the end user who spent $500 on it to make it as difficult to open as possible. Come on. Ooh. I think that's what that's for. Inside there's another package. A goodie. You know, they could have just shipped it like this. I'm just saying. Would anybody have complained? Documentation, go faster sticker on the back. Again, all the documentation will go in the motherboard box. Garbage. Recycle bin. And those were all recycle bin. So you're not going to get a close-up of this because I don't want to. We'll put the CPU in there. Close it down. Remove the lid. Talk in this tone. And that's your motherboard prep. There's more? Oh, I guess there's more. Got the RAM, got the solid state drive. Solid state drive is, just tackle this. Let me get the easy things out of the way. Okay, so this would be like the second easiest thing next to the CPU. The CPU was harder to get out of the box than it was to actually install it. So, you know, think about that when you think about technicians. I mean, for the skills we have in computers, our box opening skills is like, I mean, if we could get paid for that, that could be a whole career. Samsung 970 EVO Plus 2 terabyte. I picked up a bunch of these. Remember I told you guys when these were on sale over at Amazon, they were $249.95 or 99. So $250. I said, guys, 2 terabyte Samsung 970 EVO Plus, $250 is a really good deal. If you're thinking about buying one, buy it now. And those of you who used my link to buy it showed that there were around 80 that were purchased. 78, I think, were purchased. at $250. And I thought, wow, that's impressive. Good for those people. And then when I saw the price, like today and the way it's been for the last, I don't know, 6 weeks, it's been at $320, $70 more, right? So if you paid $250, $70 is like 25%. It's 70, 140, 210, 280. We're at 250. Whatever. It's $70 more money for the exact same thing you bought. So you remember how people, wait, not remember. Do you know how people say, oh, that computer, you know, you buy it, it goes obsolete tomorrow? That we don't live in that world anymore. You can buy a computer in the last few years that's going to last you a very, very long time. The evolutionary scale of it, it's slowing down. Intel doesn't even want to describe their CPUs by nanometers anymore. They feel it's not a good benchmark for them. So their marketing department wants to find another way to promote their newer technology CPUs and step away from talking about the size of the I forget what it's called, of the process on the die. You should have seen that one coming. Go Shadow contributes $5. He says, drill a hole in the CPU case just bigger than dog kibble, fill it with dog kibble, and tape it closed. Wait, where did he go? Set it on the floor and dogs have a ball rolling it around. Yeah. I don't think Jimmy would. Lyle would, yeah, Lyle would probably eat the case. Oh, you're saying in the CPU case, this thing, and then icy. It seems like it'd be really loud. Thank you for the contribution and the suggestion. Mike Britton with $5 says, come on, Carey, just got to cuss out a little bit. Where's that censor button? I broke that censor button a long time ago, man. Wore the thing out. Thank you for the support. Thanks for the contribution. All right. This is our 2 terabyte Samsung EVO. What is it? 970 EVO Plus. And for this, I'll get my JIS screwdriver. Really good when you're dealing with tiny screws, like on the SATA and NVMe USB enclosure I tested earlier today. When you're dealing with M2 screws, any of these little tiny screws, the JIS screwdriver, I'm telling you, it just it works so much better. Now I'm assuming, because there's two there's two M.2 ports on this, I'm assuming the M.2 closest to the CPU is the faster one, and I will need to double check this, but it's reinforced, the other one isn't. So I'm guessing this M.2 slot will be a fast one, a by 4. I think this one's a by 2, and it said there was the little Intel Wi-Fi thing on here, but oh, I see, it's right there. Okay, it's for the CNVI, whatever they call it. I didn't realize that was there, so, and I have no intention of using it, but regardless. Okay. So solid state drive is in, CPU is in, and I think I'm going to work on putting the cooler on right now. So for that, we go to, well, let me get the documentation out, put it with that, and then we'll just put that over there. And I should be done with this for a while. Try to keep the counter, try and keep your work area clean. You're not knocking stuff down and making a lot of noise. Planet Cryos contributes $20. Thank you, Planet Cryos. Noctua packages their products like nobody else. In this box is all of the hardware we need to mount the heatsink. The rest of this box is the heatsink and fan. But look at the madness of Noctua's packing quality. It's unlike any other manufacturer in consistency and how they do stuff. It's some of the best packed stuff. Look, they might be sending me crap, but they know how to pack it. Hit a button on the keyboard, sorry. See what I'm saying? I mean, it's crazy. Stay with me another 10 or 15 minutes. I should have everything out of the boxes. Hey, what? What are you doing? I'm unboxing. You're still unboxing? Yeah, I'm still unboxing. Well, it must be a Noctua product. That's how easy it is. I don't know what everybody's making a big deal about. Yeah, there's a whole lot going on here. Put that over there. Noctua. You really get your cardboard's worth. All right. That out of the way. I'm going to have to start doing these motherboard prep videos with all the parts already out of the boxes. I mean, that's coming very, very clear to me now. Why does it take him 4 hours to prep a motherboard? He does the unboxings. How does he do all that in under 4 hours? Harvey's Party contributes $5. He says, while working in IT, have you ever had customers who try to blame you for issues caused by them, such as a virus from coupon software, etc.? Well, that's very specific. Have I had a customer ever accuse me for issues they had from coupon software? It's a very specific question, isn't it? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. But I'm a really nice guy, if you're nice to me. And so when a customer says, hey, you know, you said you cleaned this computer for me, but it's still acting up or I'm still getting the pop-ups. It looks like you didn't really do a good job. Well, let me take another look at it. And I'll take another look at it. I'll figure out what's wrong. And oftentimes when I gave it back to the customer, it didn't have a virus on it. When they bring it back, I scan it again, and now it's got a virus on it. So I remove the virus, and then I double check, run the computer to see if whatever the action is that causes the pop-up still causes the pop-up. Verify that that problem has gone away. Give it back to the customer and say, let me tell you what happened. We gave the computer, we found a virus on the computer, and we didn't give it to you with a virus. Right, that one of the things we do when we prepped it or cleaned it or repaired it is we scanned it, removed all the temp files, all the viruses. And so the only way it got the virus was after we gave it to you. So I want you to know that this repair is free, even though it wasn't our fault. And if it happens again, I have to charge you for it. And then the customer then says to me, maybe, well, what did I do to get the virus? I don't know what you did, or even that it was you. Maybe you have a child or another person in the house that shares the computer. I don't know who did what. I just know that there was a virus on it. And now we've cleaned it again, and there's no viruses on it again. And that I'm doing this for you free of charge this time. And then I had one person say, well, isn't that why I have antivirus? And I'm like, well, you know, no antivirus protects you 100%, and I don't know what's going on with this, but, you know, I make my recommendation. But even with my recommendation, I can't guarantee that you're not going to get another virus, what's ever causing that to happen. And they say, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, I mean, you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to actually take the effort to educate yourself on how to use that $1,000 machine you just bought. I know it sounds crazy. It'd be like, I bought this piano. It's a $15,000 Yamaha grand piano. But when I sit and I play it, it sounds like crap. And they say, well, when did you learn to play piano? Oh, I don't know how to play the piano. Which would be followed by, are you telling me that after I just paid $15,000 for this piano, I have to learn how to use it? But that's what I hear. Sorry. Squirrel. Harvey's Party contributes, oh, that's the one we just read, the $5. Yeah, that took me off on a little journey, didn't it? Thanks for the question. AC's drafting with another $20. He says, unbox the box. How? Just put that over there. I don't know if you're laughing, but I'm having a great time here. I'm in a rare mood tonight. Enjoy it. Tomorrow, grumpy old Carey. All right, so in the box, lots of different hardware. We've got the blister maker screwdriver that Noctua includes at no additional cost. So generous. This right here could have been an actual screwdriver if they didn't spend so much on the packaging. The boxes. That box was in this box that was in that box that was shipped to me in a box. It came in a big box truck. Am I lying? Okay. So, back plate. Yeah, we know how to do this. I've taught this like, you're going to teach it now? You should have seen me do this so many times. I don't have to speak right now. I want you can talk for me. What am I saying? How many of you guessed pineapple? Yeah, this cooler, in all seriousness, this cooler is a very easy cooler to install. And it's a really quiet cooler, and it's black, so if you have a glass panel, it's, you know, it doesn't stand out like the silver coolers. It doesn't look so cheap. And this bag right here is the bag I need for Intel, and this bag is the bag I need for AMD because this works with number one. So, you know what, I'm not keeping that. It's gonna drive me crazy. So this we're not using, but it'll go in the motherboard box. This is our thermal compound and fan attachments if you want to add another fan. We have two sets of brackets here. one set for AMD, one set for Intel. And we've got 3 sets of instructions. I like that Noctua did this. You've got a set of instructions for installing LGA socket, LGA 20, any number. So Intel socket 2000 series. The LGA 115, and then any number, which also includes LGA 1200. But this was all printed before the 1200 socket existed or was announced. So I'm sure that they would have updated the printing. If I had a newer model or newer models, I would hope at some point we'll have that updated. And then of course AMD. So what we're looking to do is Intel, and the instructions are just 1 page, and they're mostly pictures. I mean, I like. All right, so the pictures show me that of these brackets, I need these curved brackets for Intel, and these straighter brackets, these are apparently for AMD. So we'll set those over here. They'll go in the motherboard box for spare parts. Thank you to Planet Cryos with a $10 contribution. Michael Dane with a $5 contribution says he's following with a motherboard build. He's doing a 10700K with an Asus Z590 Gaming, or Gaming A, with a Mugen 5 cooler. Be curious how well that cools. I think it'll be all right. In fact, I think I've built a 10700K with a Mugen 5. But go on with the Z590 and not the 490. Okay. Red Dragon with $5 says, I see a squirrel in your PC. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. These little rubber grommets are for anti-vibration, for putting on the corners of if you wanted to put a fan on the other side. So a lot of these spare parts are just for the addition of you buying an extra fan. And then you need the anti-vibration cushions, the screws, and the wire hangers to hook it on. So that's what some of that extra stuff is for. And I don't know why anybody would do that. Basically, you're going to have 2 fans moving air in the same direction versus, you know, one fan is pushing the air in and the other fan is pulling the air that's being pushed. But they're both doing it at the same speed. That part confuses me. Like, that's not how turbo works, but some people report much cooler temps, but I don't know. I've never tested it. Excuse me. When I get myself caught up, I will definitely put that on my to-do list because I'm curious. Because I don't really think it's going to make that big of a difference. Now, if one fan is larger or smaller than the other, then its rotational speed will be different. So even if they're spinning at the same speeds, one will be moving more air than the other one. And I would think, and I don't know, but I would think that you'd want to push more air in like a turbo does than your fan that's pulling can pull out. But then, I don't know, it'd be interesting to try different ways and see if any of them made any difference. But I'm going to give you a little hint. With 30 years of computer experience behind me, I'm going to say the difference won't matter. Whatever the difference is, it won't be astronomical. It'll just be... So, if you think it's worth it. But still, I like to make a video and prove that when I have to. Okay, so I got the little plastic spacers. I could turn it this way so you could kind of see. And then these brackets will go above them. The bracket, the way that I can tell how not to put the bracket on like this when it needs to go on like that is to put one bracket, the first one, over the lever you have to raise and lower to insert the CPU, that bracket will always go over that lever on an Intel cooler. At least all the ones I've seen. I should make that disclaimer. I haven't seen all Intel coolers. There's 3 possible holes that the screw can fit into, and you want to go for the one that's in the center. And if I would line it, well, first of all, I've got it upside down. If I lined it up correctly, over the center hole on each side, it should just I think the problem is I'm putting this up there for you and I can't see it. So excuse me for a minute. Okay, there's the middle hole. That was a lot easier. That was a lot easier when, you know, I'm accommodating me. All right, and then got the standoffs that can go on there. Or not the standoffs, these thumb screws rather. In fact, I should use my screwdriver for this. Easy. That one was a lot easier. Fabian Barth contributes $2.99. Thank you, Fabian. Okay, these extra little standoffs, these are for the socket 2011 or whatever 20 series Intel socket. And I'll put that, I guess it'll have to go in a Ziploc bag. See, because they didn't give me a reusable bag, so I'm gonna have to get a bag. And what I'll do is I'll keep all the spare cooler parts in one plastic bag, and then I'll include the cooler installation instructions in that bag. So then I don't have to label the bag. Somebody could look at the bag, look at what's in it, and go, oh, these are the cooler parts from all the other loose stuff that'll be in the motherboard box, from spare screws or stickers and all the other included stuff. Cables. Okay, so there's our sticker, a metal case badge from Noctua. This is something to quiet the fan down, which means slows the fan down. But these Noctua fans are already quiet. I don't know why anybody would need that. You've got the 2 extra wire hangers if you want to buy and put another fan on that we talked about. We've got the blister maker free. When I grew up, I want to be a screwdriver. And now I'm ready to apply the thermal compound and put the heatsink on top of the CPU. And since I already told you what I was going to do, I will do this quietly. Adam Tyner contributes $4.99, says Carey, fellow operator, owner of a computer service business in Texas, and I've been following for 3 or 4 years now. Keep up the great content. Hey, thank you, Adam. I appreciate that. I love hearing from people in the industry that watch my channel. That's a vindication for me. I like that. You're exactly the group of people, not that I need to attract, but by attracting that I could make somebody interested who's already an expert, and they're giving me a thumbs up. It's vindication. So thank you for letting me know. Thanks for your support. Okay, so putting on the cooler. So once again, they have writing. Which way do I want the writing? Noctua was facing me. The fan faces me, so it should be towards the rim. Nobody cares. Noctua places this little cover at the bottom of the heatsink to keep it free of any contamination, fingerprints, dust. So you take that off just before you're ready to install. The cooler, despite me debating about which direction I wanted to put the cooler in, it doesn't matter. The cooler works equally either way. It's really just, they put a word on there. Do I want the word to be upside down? Some people like, who cares? Who's going to look at it? And other people like me are like, well, if it takes just as much effort to put it on upside down as it does to put it on right side up. Anyway, you see where I'm going with that. JC Robertson contributes $5. He says, Carey, I can't find an RTX 3090 to buy, so I'm spending here instead. Well, thank you. I hope they stay running out of 3090s for a long, long time. Mark Hunter contributes $5, says, thanks, man, for all the knowledge. Hey, thank you. Thanks for all the cash. I mean, YouTube gets 30%, and the government takes 30%. But I get some, and that's the part we should focus on. Thank you, seriously. I'm just screwing around. I'm in a good mood. Now you know it's April Fool's Day. I saw that retention lever physically bend. So I was like, wow, that sucker is on there tight. I'm questioning whether or not I did that right. Normally I would not tighten down a heatsink with an electric driver. All I can tell you is I'm in a mood. It doesn't have to make any sense. It's just because I wanted to. I'm not recommending you do it the way I do it. At least, not that. Last thing I have to install is the RAM. Here I've got the G.Skill Trident Z Royal, and they put it in like a jewel box with, you know, a go faster sticker. You put this on your computer and make it go faster. And then there's a, I guess this is for wiping the tears out of your eyes when you realize how much you spent for this. And then you've got the RAM, which has a mirrored finish, and this one's in silver. They also make it in gold, and has a little plastic covering it right now, plastic film, so as not to leave fingerprints, which is what the cloth is for, because somebody might see a fingerprint on your RAM. I remember, in fact, I'll never forget, when I was growing up, it was a strict household. He was like maybe 5, 6 years old. And it's like, my dad said, if I see one fingerprint on your RAM, it was a RAM? I guess I'm remembering it wrong. Never mind. Okay. Is Carey drunk? What's in my Gatorade? I'm just feeling silly. Trying something different. All right, there's that. Did they include polish for the fingerprints? I don't think that's what finger polish does. I think you're putting the finger polish on the wrong side of your finger. It's not supposed to hide fingerprints. It's the other side. Hey, there's Jack. Jack contributes $50 and he says, just because I'm in a great mood, thanks to you, my friend. Hey, right on. Thank you, Jack. Thank you very much. Danny McGrath contributes $2 Canadian. He says, can you build me a gaming computer, Carey? The problem with building a gaming computer is my inability to force things that don't exist into existence. And I've tried. I have tried to manifest a graphics card, and that's the problem. If I can get a graphics card, it's going to be expensive. And then I'm being involved in this. I'm like a middleman in all of it, and I don't want to participate in it. So I can build you a computer, but as far as a gaming computer, you could always, put a graphics card in. I'll do all the hard work. All you'd have to do is wait until you can get a graphics card and put it in there, and I can build the rest of it. But right now, no, it's just, getting a graphics card is very difficult to at least get one at a reasonable price that I would feel comfortable being involved in that kind of a sale, because I wouldn't do that to people. Which is why I'm so bad at business. All right, let's put the fan on. Yeah, we'll do it like that. I try to make the top of the fan level with the heatsink, and again, it's mostly just for looks. I think you'll find your temperatures will be pretty much the same if the fan was an inch over or an inch below the end of the radiator. I don't think it would really make that much difference. So it's really just for looks. Yeah, I'm expecting one day I'm going to show my computer to somebody, right? Somebody's going to come over and say, hey man, nice computer. Did you build this? I really like the fan orientation and leveling you did with the cooler. That was handiwork you don't see every day. I really appreciate those details. So, I mean, you never know when that could happen, so I just want to make sure I'm ready. Don't want to be caught unprepared. Okay, is that? It's right there. Okay. I think it's level. It's only going to be on for a few hours, Carey. I want it level. Okay. I'm happy with that. I could have put it on, I could have just slapped it on there with my eyes closed for all I need it for. It won't make any difference, just so you know, because it's just coming right back off in a few hours. Does he know he has OCD? Shh. He calls it CDO. He likes it alphabetized. Planet Cryos contributes $5. Says in the future, you could try something like building a cheap PC while blindfolded. Just a fun video to make for the channel. Yeah, who's going to sponsor that? Bactine and Band-Aids? Can you imagine trying to build a computer blindfolded with all the sharp edges and pointy pins on a motherboard and all the pointy ends of the soldering points on the back? That's like a blood fest. What is this, like Saw? I probably took that a little too far. I mean, I appreciate the suggestion, but it doesn't seem practical. Unless, hear me out. Can we build the computer out of Nerf? We're ready for our power on self-test. That was a pretty interesting motherboard prep session. Bet you never saw nothing like that before. Probably wish you could unsee it at this point, but here we are. All right. Power supply. I need the switches. Power switch. I need power supply. Carey, can you build a graphics card? Of course. Anybody can build a graphics card. Let me show you. I'll show you. Gonna have one of these. Something similar. More complicated. I mean, there's a reason you don't see me write a lot. The handwriting is not pretty, but I do my best. Man, I'm going a long way for a bad joke. Card. This is a card. Now it's a graphics card. No, you're not getting that time back. All right, CPU power connector. Let's go over here. People talking about graphics card shortages. I'm like, get me a pen. All right, that's kind of funny. Don't encourage me. Okay, I need an HDMI cable that goes to the capture card, which I think is this one right here. I need a keyboard and a mouse. Oh. Stupid boxes. Where am I going to put this? Yes, I'll put it here. So, workbench space, people. I'm telling you, it's a deal. It's a thing. You got to worry about it. Look how messy I've made my workbench, and that's after I cleared everything off my workbench that I could, because I was telling you I was making my workbench nice and clean to work on it. This is what I did with it. Okay, HDMI cable's plugged in. I need a power cable. That should be all we need. Switch that on. Yeah, I think I'm good. Okay. Well, let's just clear the air. Oh wait, contribution. Frump99 contributes $5, says, whenever my computer starts to slow down, I polish my Inspired by Carey Holzman badge. I am enjoying the good vibes build. Right on. That's cool. Appreciate you supporting the channel that way and proudly displaying the Carey Holzman Go Faster sticker. AC's drafting with a generous $50 contribution. It says, the Carey card. Have to run. Have fun, folks, and thanks, Carey. Hey, thanks, AC, and again, thanks for all your help with the GPU removal tool, which I still have to get back to developing, and all your financial support. Thank you. Now, I realize there's people out there that, you know, look, you're always going to have somebody who's going to complain. And the thing is what I am doing live on the show is a pretty risky thing. And so I may not be, you know, I make mistakes, and that's fine. And some people criticize those mistakes as suggesting I'm not a computer tech. You know, computer tech wouldn't do that. So here's your opportunity. I've just built this machine clean out of the box. I'm going to turn it on for the first time. How many of you think it's not going to boot? I'm just curious. Are there any non-believers in the house? Turning this into a cult. Do we have any non-believers in the house? Just waiting to see. Because I'm about to turn this on, and we're about to find out if I made any mistakes or if I got any bad parts. You saw me unbox everything. Had to cut the tape. It was all brand new, never used. Nothing's scripted, nothing's rehearsed. I have no control over what it can do when I hit the power button. Are you as confident as I am? And if so, why? That's rhetorical. Don't answer that. Okay, so let's see what happens. Let me go to camera 2. Camera 2. And then let me put camera 1 up in the corner. So I will go right up there. And I'm going to hit the power button, tap. CPU fan is on. There's some LEDs on the board. The RAM just lit up. It's doing something. Remember that first boot, it's training the memory. It takes a minute, recognizes the CPU. So don't be too impatient when you do that first boot. There it is. So you saw how long that took. It's normal for that to take even longer. And you'll notice it reset itself just then. That was probably making some BIOS changes based on the memory that it's seeing, the configuration, and it's adjusting. I think that's what it's doing. It's saving that and restarting with those settings, checking again, and then it should level out. So hopefully, there we go. I'm thinking that's the last time. We might have a problem. Nope. It's a little worrisome, isn't it? We saw that thing reset 4 or 5 times, and your initial instinct may be, what did I do? Should I turn it off? Don't turn it off. Give it a full 90 seconds on that first boot. And then after that, give it another 30 seconds. And then go ahead and cut the power. That's what I would do. Go Shadow contributes $2, wants to know if I ever had a motherboard smoke when I turned it on. Yes. Yep. One of the things we can do, oh, you thought I was going to tell the story? I don't have a specific story. It happens. Nothing memorable that I know it's happened, but I don't know specifically when and where. It wasn't that big of a deal. I was going to check the BIOS version because we can update the BIOS while we're in here. I am on version F7, so Z390 M Gaming on F7. So I'm just going to go into Google and I'll type gaming M, was it Z370? No, 390. Z390 BIOS. The first link that Google provides me is gigabyte.com. That's where I want to go. And then I'm on the main site for this motherboard, the main feature page, and I click on support on that page, and that will take me to downloads. And looking under the downloads under BIOS, I want to see if there's anything newer than F7. And in fact, there was an F8 and an F9M. I don't have to do F8. I just have to do the latest one unless, and it'll tell you when you download it, it'll explain what the BIOS file is that you're downloading. But if that BIOS file requires a minimum previous BIOS, it will say so. That's unusual. It's not normal. Usually you just have to get the latest BIOS. So, I mean, I suppose if you wanted to flash each version, you could, but given how people talk about how risky it is, why would you want to do it more times than you had to? But in theory, you could flash the BIOS over and over and over. You could go 20, 30 versions, sure, if you want to. So F9M is the latest version, and I'm going to download that zip file and extract it here on the streaming computer, and I'm just going to describe it to you because you guys can't see what I'm doing the way OBS is. In that file I've downloaded and extracted, there are 4 files, but I'm only interested in the BIOS file, and that's the one that ends, at least from Gigabyte, it ends with the model of the BIOS, or the version. So if the version was, what I say it was, F9M, then the file will be, you know, whatever file name .F9M. That's your BIOS file. It's also the largest file. If you're not sure, just look at the size. It's the biggest one. That's the one I want. That's the only one I need, and I'll copy that file onto a small flash drive. So I have a small 2 gig flash drive, because sometimes if your flash drive is too large, your BIOS won't see it. It varies from motherboard to motherboard, but it'll always see a small flash drive universally. So I keep a small flash drive just for this purpose. I'm just copying that BIOS file onto it. So I'm done now with the streaming computer. I've got my flash drive that I need. And we'll go back to, I've got to go full screen so I can see. There it is. We'll go back to this machine. I'll go ahead and just pick any USB port and plug this flash drive in. And I just want to give it a second, let the computer analyze it, shake its hand, ask it, how you doing? Now that they're acquainted, I can see if it shows up in the BIOS. And I'll just do that by, I can grab the keyboard here and go to, well, nope, that's not what I meant. I better use the mouse. Right down here at the bottom of the screen, it says Q Flash. I'm going to click that. Update BIOS. I'm going to click that. It sees the file right there. There's nothing else to see because the solid state drive that's in there hasn't been partitioned or formatted yet. So the only thing I've got plugged in is the flash drive. So that's how it was so smart to know, hey, that's the BIOS file. All right, so we're going to select that, double click. It verifies the file is compatible with the board, which it is. So we go to the next screen, which is faster intact. I recommend intact. And then leave everything alone. Don't touch the mouse or the keyboard. Walk away if need be and let the BIOS update. And don't touch the computer or the keyboard or anything connected to the computer while the BIOS is updating. If you want to be extra careful and ensure that your BIOS update is going to be an uneventful thing, leave it alone and let it do what it wants to do and don't interfere. It will automatically reboot itself and it will either take you back into the BIOS when it's done or it'll present you with a, like in this case, it'll say no bootable device. But in either way, it doesn't require your input. I just want to see you succeed. And that'll greatly up your chances. Just saying. Joe Bush contributes $9.99. He says, I pity the fool that doesn't watch Carey Holtzman. Well, I think you're letting us all know how old you are, Joe. Do I have to explain the I pity the fool to anybody? No, we're all old. That's good. You'll see the system, I'm not touching it, I'm ignoring it. I'm like, I don't even care about you. Nope, don't even care. Not even gonna look at it. Not even so much as gonna make eye contact. See, it's trying to get my attention. But I'm gonna wait. And there we are. So this screen right here, this is, hey, the BIOS is all updated, everything's good, we're ready to rock and roll as you were. Everything's fine. So that's ultimately what we want to get to. And again, there's nothing for me to press on the keyboard or touch on the mouse at this point. I just want to turn the computer off. And you can do that by hitting the off button. And if it doesn't shut off with a tap, which this one did, hold the button down for 10 seconds. And if that still doesn't work, you can use the switch on the back of your power supply or pull the power cable. Or you can not pay your electric bill. Or you could, I'm sorry, there's a lot of other things you could do, but definitely not as practical as the ones I mentioned. You climb the pole that provides the power and cut the light. Anyway, yeah, don't do any of that. Now, with everything, with the BIOS updated, and I know that it posts, this is a good time to install Windows. So even though I'm in this small window here, I don't think I'm gonna make it bigger for this because I want to show you what, oh yeah, I guess I probably will. Sorry, I just, I just realized I wanted to show you what I was about to do, but I can't do that if the screen is small, or you're not going to see us clearly. So one of these flash drives, here it is. This is my Windows 10 installation flash drive, and I always update it with the latest version of Windows 10, regardless of what anybody's saying on the internet about how terrible the latest version of Windows 10 is. By the way, I'm going to give you a little heads up. I got some insider information about the next version of Windows 10. It sucks. Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot. But, and this is top secret, the version of Windows 10 that's in development, that's coming out after the new version of Windows 10, it sucks too. It's worse. Yeah. So regardless of those people, I go ahead and I install the latest version of Windows 10 for my customers who, you know, are reasonable and normal. All right. Turn that on. And we'll go to, put me out of the way here. And that should start booting to the Windows 10 installation flash drive. Okay. You'll notice I install Windows on a new build without any internet connected. I also never tell it I have a product key, and I always have the product keys that I get are for Windows 10 Pro. Obviously have to accept a license agreement. I always choose custom install. We've only got one drive in the system, so there's only one drive to install Windows on, and of course that's the one we want, so I click next, and I just wait. So while we're waiting, anybody have any questions? Master Singleton's got a birthday. Hey, happy birthday. I'm just hanging out in the chat right now. Would you install Linux since Windows sucks? Yes, I would. If I could make money from Linux users. And that's what everybody was using, and there was a lot of work to find because, you know, everybody was using it, so there was lots of, it was easy to find work, and the work paid well. Oh yeah, I would install Linux in a heartbeat. My friend Ron is asking me to, if I, he wants me to share the picture of, he's getting a new puppy dog. Or maybe better to say a new puppy dog is getting Ron. Let me look. Now, first of all, there should be a disclaimer that this may be too cute for some audience members. You know what? I better go full screen. Do we have to watch Windows install, or can you just trust me? Do you trust me that I'm not just going to do like some fancy edit? You see in the picture? Okay, I'm going to just do this right now. All right, so there's a mama dog, there's a papa dog. I'm not sure which is which. There's my friend Ron, with the soon-to-be new family member he has decided to name Kumo. And if that wasn't cute enough for you, if your cute meter was not broken yet, it's a great Pyrenees puppy. Yeah, it's going to be a big, big dog. You'll see. All right, let me put myself back where I was. Okay. And I go back to full screen. That's all I want. Okay, now I can see the screen here, so we'll go United States, yes. Keyboard layout, yes. Skip. I don't have internet. Continue with limited setup. For a username, I'm just going to type in user. Typing upside down. See? You're like, that's how I type normally. All right, we'll turn that off. Wrong mouse. We'll turn that off. That, and that, and that, and that. Okay. So now we've been fully installed Windows 10 from scratch. It partitioned, it formatted the new NVMe drive we had in there. It did all that for us. It's finishing its installation now. We can go ahead and remove the installation flash drive at any point. We don't have to wait. After that first boot, the flash drive can come out anytime you want. My OCD, you know, I like to finish things in the sense I like something to be done before I do something else. But it's not necessary in everything in life, and that's one of those things. This is going to take a minute, and once that's done, then I will plug it in to the network, and we'll check for updates, and then download whatever updates are out there, including drivers. And then off camera, I'll activate it, and then this will be prepped and ready for the... We're using a different board for tomorrow's build. This build will be used for the mini helicopter case, which will probably be maybe a week or two. You'll see this again. Trent Muller contributes $2. He says, "You're cool, Carey. I hope to see more video to come." Thanks, Trent. What camera do I use to stream with? I'm using camcorders. I have a family of Canon camcorders, G30, G40, G20. And right now you're seeing me on an XF400, and I have 3 XF400s going into a 4-port HDMI capture card from Magewell. So it's not like I bought a Logitech webcam and plugged it in. However, I did, when we do the streaming of Tech Vets, that's a Logitech StreamCam Pro, I think is what it's called. And it's not the camera that's so amazing, but the software they include with the camera that only works with that camera, that makes that camera amazing. Yeah. Okay, so Windows is finished, so let me grab the Ethernet cable. Plug that in. There we go. Just going to ignore that. I just want this out of the way. So if I click it, and then you have to click this stupid complete setup button, continue without signing in. Okay, so it's going to bring up one more thing. Now we don't have to deal with that anymore. It's forever done. Now I'll go to Windows Update, and it's already downloading some updates and drivers in the background automatically without letting us know. It's been doing that since I plugged the internet in and it established a connection to the server. So if I didn't manually do these updates, if I just leave it plugged in and I walk away, at some point the computer's going to say some updates have been installed. Would you like to restart, or along those lines? I'm just forcing this to happen quicker. Sylvan Rasudo contributes €2. He says, how do I use a config to set Windows install values? Oh, that's more than I can get into on this show. But you can create your own Windows install that has all of the questions answered, essentially. Gosh, it's been years since I did that. I forgot what it's called. But the amount of time that you have to invest to create it and test it, I mean, you'd have to, for me, to make it worth my while, I'd have to be installing Windows like 10 times a day. If I'm installing, even once a day, is not worth all the effort to create that media. For me personally. Rudiger Luthi contributes $5. He says, do I need a VPN? And if so, which one do you use? I'm a retired pharmacist from Virginia. Great to see you broadcasting again. Thank you, Rudiger. Thank you for the contribution. Do you need a VPN? Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. Which one do I use? I don't often use a VPN because I found VPNs just slow my connection down, and I don't really think anybody cares about what I'm doing online. Like, as far as I'm not a big public figure that's being monitored. So what do I care? He wrote an email saying hello to his friend Mitch. We intercepted it. But there's other reasons to use a VPN other than personal paranoia and schizophrenia. There are actual real reasons, but I think few people that ask about VPNs are the people that actually need them. I mean, most people who need them, they already know they need them, generally speaking. But as far as like what I recommend, I think Surfshark, if you can find a coupon deal for Surfshark, the thing about these VPNs is you never pay the retail price. Type in the name of the VPN in Google with the word coupon code and save yourself some money. A little tip from your Uncle Carey. But it's a money-saving tip right there. That's like, I was thinking of a financial advisor, but I couldn't think of a name. I see the guy's face. That's James. What's his name? James Carter? No, what's his name? It was going to be hilarious. I'll just go with Warren Buffett. That's a Warren Buffett level of money savings advice right there. Jason Wyrick says, Proton VPN is nice. Yeah, let us know. If you guys use a VPN and you like them, let us know who it is. I'm no expert. Hey, there's Peter Laycock. Hey, Peter. He contributes 50 pounds as usual. Good to see you again, my friend. Good morning, he says. He says, good morning, Carey, and everyone in the chat from Bonnie, Scotland. Should I say it like you would? I'm trying to imagine the way Peter would say it. Good morning, Carey. No, that's Irish. I probably shouldn't do it. But thank you. Master Singleton contributes $4 He says, how do you store old hardware you plan on reusing? So there's a blank spot on the floor, and then I cover it with something. And I'm like, okay, I know what that is, I know what that is, I know what that is. But then I have this other thing, and I go, okay, where am I going to put this other thing? And I go, well, I think this one will go on top of that one. And then I have another thing, you know, and then I'm like, oh, where's this? You know, put it on top of that one. And that's kind of how I do it. A shelving unit helps in a garage. See, it's offering me that restart now, right? Even though it's still downloading, it's still working right now. And Windows used to not do that. Windows never said, hey, do you want to interrupt what I'm doing to restart me? It always used to make the button grayed out, and when it was done with its install, then the button would be clickable. But now the button's clickable, and I'm like, well, don't click it. It's working. I mean, that's rude. But then I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling kind of rebellious tonight. I'm going to click it. I really think it makes a difference. But then it's probably going to have to re-download that file. It'll punish me. Trust Me says he likes NordVPN. And, you know, his name is Trust Me, so that settles it. James Duffy says he uses a VPN, which is part of Norton 360, and he says he can only use it to access sites he can't normally access from Australia. Oh, yeah, so that's a... man, I'm not going to do good at this tonight because of my mood. It has a name for that service, but it's like location spoofing. And it's so you can watch media that's blocked in your country. And there's some VPNs that offer just that service for people who, they don't care about any of the security stuff. They don't care about the encryption. They don't care about anything. They just want to watch the football game. Okay, now back to Windows Update. Yeah, all right, well, I guess it didn't really change anything, did it? It's right back where it was before I hit restart. So I don't think it saved me any time. I don't understand. All right, so well, that's processing. Jason Wyrick says, Carey, you're such a rebel. I know. Oh, I know. I used to return VHS tapes without rewinding them. I would talk to the bus driver when the bus was in motion. You can't stop me. I'm a rebel. When you saw the screen go blank just then, that's when the Intel video driver from Windows Update installed and activated. When you see that happen, in most cases, especially during an install, that's when the driver is replacing your current driver. And then, so it's deactivating your current video driver, screen goes black, and then it activates the new video driver, screen comes back. Michael Dane contributes $10. He says, myself and a friend just gave away their final computer for the school year. They gave away two. What he's telling me is he's giving away his 51st computer, and he's got a 52nd computer he's given away. He said number 52 is a Samsung Tab S5e tablet. So he and his friend, in this case, and mostly I see it's a lot of him, gather together. I mean, I don't know where he's getting these computers from. He hasn't disclosed that for me, but sometimes he's building them or he's acquiring them from somewhere, and he's doing it for a purpose to give it to somebody in his local community in need. And he hasn't done it once, and he hasn't done it 10 times or 20 times or 30 times. This is computer number 51 and 52. So how amazing is that? Like, if there's an applause emoji, you guys should be hitting that right about now, because that's a tough act to follow. William Bailey says, hello, Uncle Carey. The computers you built for me and my daughter are still running like gangbusters, and we both want to express our gratitude to you. Wow, how cool is that? How many people do you think walk into Best Buy and they go, hey, is Chad still working here? I bought a refrigerator from him about 2 years ago. I mean, that's really cool, because in the industry, it's pretty cold, right? It's a customer, it's a sale. But I think it's nice and it feels good when you know that even years later, the person you made a sale to is still 100% happy with their purchase. Best compliment ever. And when you go into business for yourself, if you're not yet, you'll understand the depth of how important that is and what a compliment that is. All right. It says it's installing the cumulative update. The ones it says it can't install or download error, don't worry about those. We will have to, after this update, we'll have to restart, go back to Windows Update. It'll take 3 or 4 reboots, waiting for the updates to catch up. This is another good reason why to install the latest version of Windows 10, because when the new version comes out, all of these updates are already in it. So then you only have to get the updates since then. If you install an older version, then you have to update to this version sooner or later. And it just lengthens the amount of time you're going to be spending on updates. Auburn Dad says he can't wait for the beer keg computer build tomorrow. Felt like it was important to say beer keg with that accent. It's a little like Texas, beer keg computer. Mitch was calling it the barbecue grill. It's like a smoker. Yeah, we're going to have to come up with a name for this thing, aren't we? John Doe says, hey, Carey, remember that computer you didn't build for me? It's still not working. Ugh, if I had a nickel. No, seriously, if I just had a nickel. Does anybody have a nickel? Need to scratch a lottery ticket. Master Singleton says, Canon cameras are great. Back in 2019, I bought a Canon XF405 4K ENG camcorder, and it's an amazing piece of camera equipment, and I'm still using them for my various video projects. That makes a lot more sense than verbose. So, the Canon camera that you're describing is the same camera. It just has the SDI output, the XF405. I don't need the SDI output. So save a little money, get the XF400. I agree, it's a great camera, love it. That's why I've got 3 of them. I only use 1 at a time. I'm going to change that. But it's also backwards compatible with all the other camcorder cameras that I have with regards to the batteries and chargers, which was important to me. And I always say, when it comes to photography and cameras, if you're gonna shoot someone, use a Canon. That should be their slogan. Gotta get more Gatorade. It was riveting watching Windows 10 updates install. So tell me what you did yesterday. I watched some YouTube videos. Yeah, what'd you watch? Well, there's a couple of music videos, some reaction videos. Oh, and I was watching this guy build a computer. He watched a guy build a computer. Yeah, and then he installed Windows on it. And you watch this on YouTube. Yeah, he showed the entire Windows installation process. Uh-huh. Did he like speed it up at all, or oh no, it was live. You watched software install. How many hours a day would you say you spend doing that? Oh, I'd say as often as it's on, I watch it. What's the name of that YouTube channel? I want to tell my friends about it. Still installing. Wow. All right. So finally, the cumulative update has finally gotten past that long stumbling point that it always has at like 74%. Patience. And the rest of this should be over here pretty quick. %. See, I told you he's really showing Windows being installed. What program is good for streaming and not that resource hungry? OBS is very light and it's free. Use OBS. If you want to try StreamYard, there's no software to download with StreamYard. The website does all the work. Aaron Werner contributes $2. He says, "You're doing a great job, Carey. I love the channel." Hey, thank you, Aaron. And thank you for the $2. Let's see if I go to, is this done yet? Pending restart. Okay, so we'll restart again. We go back to Windows Update again. We'll do this about I think it's about 4 times, maybe 5. I do that for all my customers. You think Dell does this? No. When you get a computer from the big box store and you plug it in, you can sit for a while waiting for updates. Or you can be like most people and completely ignore it, and it'll happen in the background. Eventually, it'll grab everything. If you leave the computer on, connected to a high-speed connection, it'll grab that stuff as fast as it can and install it in the background, and the end user will never know, except a box will eventually pop up saying updates have installed and you need to restart to have them take effect. And I want my customers to have a plug-and-play ready solution. When I ship a computer, I want the latest drivers, the latest antivirus updates, the latest Windows updates. Windows is activated. That thing is plug-and-play ready. No bloatware, and very minimal customization of Windows. It's not my computer. Let the customer adjust Windows the way they want it. I make some changes, but I just don't go over the top with it. I don't think I do. So back to Windows Update. We can try this as the one that always fails, right? So even now, it's still updating automatically in the background. Every single time that I go to Windows Update manually, it's entirely possible that Windows Update, the service, it's always running, and it may be going out to the server and duplicating what I'm doing, or I'm duplicating what it's doing. And when that happens, you'll get a failure on the install, and that's why it's not a big deal to freak out about. It means the other one that was installing it completed it. The second time you tried to install it, it failed because it was already installed. Okay, now it wants to restart again. I don't know if is anybody counting these restarts? It said it was what, 4? I think we're on 4 right now, and I think there's at least 2 more, so maybe 1 more. So I'm ready for a new version of Windows 10. When the next version of Windows 10 comes out, which should be, well, geez, I would think this month sometime, then I won't have to sit through as many updates, at least for the first few months anyway. I'm going to download and install that. And it says view optional updates. These are usually drivers, video drivers, sound drivers, network card drivers. I'll take all of them. Sure, why not? There's an Intel system driver for something. I'll grab it. Why not? Now, if it's for a printer, I probably won't grab it because I've seen it break the printing abilities, or it changes sometimes the software interface that the customers are used to seeing for their printer. When they change the version, and the customer's like, I don't know what this is. Can you put it back the way it was? You know, change. So yeah, so the printer drivers, I don't typically grab those. I've been scarred too many times for that. So I did show, I guess we can do that. Do I need to keep this on the screen? Let's just check back on this, because this is just not entertaining. I'll show you the 2 of the cameras I've got here that I'm not using right now. And I have to say, I could not have acquired these cameras without the generous assistance and support of a couple of viewers. And I'm not going to embarrass them, or, you know, they may want to be anonymous, but there were 3 viewers essentially that made it possible for me to pay about $2,500 for this camera, and there's 3 of them. This is the X400, and this is the camera I'm using to speak to you now. It's the exact same model, but it's got antlers, because it's got the wireless microphone receivers on top. So it's got some stuff on top. But it's the same camera, and then I've got a 3rd camera, which is still at the other kitchen, that are all this camera. I love this camera. This is a camera that is not only meeting my needs today, it's going to meet my needs well into the future, because it's 4K, and I'm only using it in 1080. And one day, 4K will be normal, and I won't have to buy new cameras for that. So there's one camera. And then my older cameras, I still use those, but I don't use them as main cameras. I use them for close-up shots, or shots that might be risky to the camera, like if I want to drive the car over the camera, which I've done in a few videos. I'll use one of my older cameras. This is one of the best, this is one of the newest of the old cameras. And this is the Canon Vixia G, this is only the G10. I take it back. This is one of the oldest old cameras. The G10, the G20, the G30, the G40, the G50, they all look very similar. Well, they did change the, I'm going to take that back too. The G10, the G20, and I think the G30 all look the same. And then they changed the look on the G40. Anyway, doesn't matter. Point is, this is a 1080 camcorder. With this long battery pack on the back, I can record without a power cable for like 10 hours. The quality on it is really good, but it's not as good as this camera. So when you see, like when Mitch comes over tomorrow and we'll be holding this camera is like 7 years old, 8 years old. And using each camera where it's really good, I think you'd be hard pressed to tell me from picture quality which camera's better. Like that's how well this holds up. Oops. That would not have been good. All right, let's see how we're doing on our install here. Still working. All right, well, we'll let it keep doing its thing. But yeah, that pretty much preps this board, like I said, with the Windows updates. Then I'll download the Intel driver updater, grab any new Intel drivers that are recommended. We've obviously, if you were here, you know we updated the BIOS. And so tomorrow, when Mitch comes over, we will take this cooler off and mount this into the beer keg case and put the Silverstone, the all-in-one liquid cooler from Silverstone, which Silverstone sent to me to test a long time ago, like a few months ago. And this is the first opportunity I've had to test it. But the previous Silverstone cooler we tested blew my mind with how cold the chip was. Like I wasn't even sure the readings were right. So I hope the new one performs equal to or better than. I now have high expectations because that cooler performs so well. Michael McFarland contributes 250 Filipino pesos, is that right? He says, thanks for all you do, Carey. Hey, thank you, Michael. Thanks for your support, your generosity, your kindness. I want to check in on this computer still sitting there. This really sucks to do this on camera. Because you know what I would be doing right now if this camera wasn't on? I'd be in the other room with a bag of chips, my Gatorade, and I'd be watching TV. And then when the commercial would come on, I would get up and I would say, how's that doing? Still working? And I wouldn't care. Maybe I'd grab some ice for my drink and I would go back in there and then I'd watch some more TV. Sort of go like that until I was tired and went to bed. But that'll be after I've run out of things to do to this, right? So I will get all of that done tonight regardless. I won't go to bed till it's done. But at the same time, I'll constantly check in on it, but when it's convenient for me to do so. Okay, so we'll go to, let me check in on it here. Okay, now it's installing. It was sitting at downloading 100%. It sat there for quite a while. And it does that, and it frustrates me because it looks like it's doing nothing. But if you let it sit long enough, it will eventually get to installing. Rick Hubbard contributes £5. He says 5.25. Oh, he says it's 5:25 in the morning and all is well. Good morning, all. Hey, good morning, Rick. I guess I'm your alarm clock this morning. Enjoy your Friday. Earl Moore says, Carey, you're my mentor. I watch all of your vids. Great content. Thank you, Earl. And you are my apprentice. Is that it? When you can snatch the Go Faster sticker from my hand, then you will be ready. All right, how are we doing there? Is it done yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No? So let me tell you about my double overclocked super whammy crazy fast nitrogen cooled computer that I built with hardline liquid cooling, custom looped, got a heat gun, got all these tools. I mixed the fluid myself. Got the pump pre-filled, didn't have any leaks. I turned the thing on. It's the fastest thing you've ever seen. It's incredibly stable. It's so fast, and all this money I spent on thermal compound and overclock testing, hours and hours and hours and hundreds of dollars, and I'm telling you, there's no way it could run any faster. I have found its limit. Is it stuck at 74% like mine is? Yeah. Oh, it finished. It is hilarious to me that some of you are just now noticing that there's a squirrel in the video. I'm sorry, are you having a squirrel moment? Now you know what it feels like. Okay, how many times have I rebooted? Is that was like 5, right? I think that was 5. I think that's the last one. Until I do the Intel driver update. Then there'll be a new video driver update, and that's going to want to reboot. So it'll be 6. Now this update, you know, if it fails, I don't care about that one. Everything else is good. We're fully up to date there, so I can go to, I'll just go right up here and I'll just type in, gotta use the right keyboard. Here's how I find it. I don't know the website. I just type in Intel driver update, and I see the assistant is auto-completed. That's what I want. The first link that comes up, Intel driver and support assistant, and it comes from intel.com. That's the one I want. It's not from a third party. It's not going to trick me into having to pay something. This is the real deal, and it's free, and it's safe. And I hit download now. It's a small download. I click on that, and then I click yes, I want to install it. No, it didn't ask me. All right, now I click install, accept the license agreement. No, I'll take it back. That was not the license. The second thing I clicked on was the customer experience, that you would let them know. Here, let me do it again. Just cancel it. All right, just did it save it? Is it in my downloads folder? It is. Okay, so I don't have to re-download it. I'm just gonna start again. This is the license agreement. You have to agree to this, but this is not a license agreement. This is if you want to let them monitor the behavior of the Intel driver assistant. If it's making mistakes or if it's crashing, it reports that information to them anonymously, and then they collect that data, and future development of the program or repair of the program is done based on the reports that it's sending back anonymously. They don't know who you are, they don't care. They just want to know how their program is working or if it's got a problem and if a lot of people are having an issue. For privacy reasons, a lot of people just click decline. It's like, not my job to help you make better software. But it does, if you're the one using the software, you're just punishing yourself. Okay, so that just is a small program and it finishes really quickly. And when you launch it, it launches in a web browser. And it's going to scan any Intel device on your motherboard. So if you have an Intel network card, if you have an Intel chipset, if you have an Intel SSD, if you have an Intel computer like a NUC, it'll even tell you if there's a new BIOS and offer to install it for you. All on this one free utility. And furthermore, it gives us all this detailed information about our build, you know, the motherboard manufacturer, model number, the BIOS version. Wait, it doesn't give us the BIOS version, does it? It gives us the BIOS date. Oh no, BIOS version's up here. F9M is the BIOS version, the make of the motherboard and the model. And then further, these are all of the potential drivers this website could update for you. It's recognizing the Intel Ethernet controller, the Intel display audio, the Intel graphics driver with the down arrow means that's an update waiting, and the Intel CPU. I think it's great, and I really, really wish AMD would do this. I would turn more towards AMD's favor because they're still in an early development mode. The chip is still relatively immature, and they're constantly evolving at a very rapid rate because of how new the technology was. And so to automate alerting users when these drivers are being updated so frequently and for a damn good reason would really add to AMD's value, in my mind. The idea that there can be an update that was released months ago that I don't have that can make my system run faster or more secure or more reliably, and it's free, and AMD released it to address a problem. Maybe it's a problem I'm not having. But if I put that driver on, I'm guaranteed I won't have it. But AMD doesn't tell me it's there. So that bothers me on a maintenance side. Like, you can imagine, what if you had 1,000 customers that had AMDs and they were paying you to maintain their computers for them? Could you do that by yourself? And how much would you have to charge people for the amount of labor it takes to do that for a year? Stealth Mode contributes $5. He says, much more fun to hang out while doing it. Right on. It is fun to hang out. But I mean, nothing wrong with sitting on the couch with a bag of Doritos and watching Family Guy, is all I'm saying. I mean, for example. Okay, so it's downloaded this driver. It's a big driver. It's like 500 megs. So it's downloaded this new Windows video driver. And these video drivers are very, very important. If you never update the drivers on your computer, you're probably going to be one of those people who screams bloody foul when a Windows update causes a crash, because it won't have been Windows update that actually caused the crash. What it will have been is you have an old driver and an update was released for it. And if you fail to update that driver, bad things could happen. That's why they updated it, so bad things wouldn't happen. But you didn't get the bad things aren't going to happen driver, did you? And then what happened? bad things. Well, but you know, it's a lot of work to go out and look it up. And is it today? Is there one today? Should I check once a week? The Intel one, it just lets you know. Whenever it's available, you glance down. If I go down here, you'll see there's a little wrench. And it's got a little red dot next to it. And there'll be a pop-up. Hey, there's a new driver available. Tell you instantly. Yes, I'd like to have that, please. Thank you very much. There may be some Wi-Fi devices. Now that Wi-Fi 6 has been okayed for use, there may be some Wi-Fi 6 capable devices that become Wi-Fi 6 with a firmware update, for example, now that they have permission. And if that was an Intel thing and they would push it out automatically, wouldn't that be great? What, they want to make my Wi-Fi faster and stronger and safer for free without my permission? No, I'm just saying it would let you know, hey, this is available. It's up to you if you want to use it. But if you don't know it's available, how upset would you be when you finally found out that it's resolved something that's been bothering you for weeks or months and that the fix was out there the whole time? I'd start taking it personally. But maybe that's just me. All right, so the video driver's installed, all the Windows updates are installed, and at this point now, I've done all I can do with this computer apart from activate it, which I won't do on camera because I don't want to show you the product key. For some strange reason, that's frowned upon. So I'll take care of that off camera, and this computer is going to go in one of my special piles. This one has a pile with a black helicopter on it, so I know those two go together. I have a system. I was talking about how Mitch and I were going to remove the cooler on this tomorrow. No, my bad. I made a mistake. Mitch and I are going to remove the cooler on this in about a week or two because this goes to the black helicopter case. We're not working on that one tomorrow. We're working on the round case tomorrow. So I screwed up when I said I got my builds mixed up. This board, I'll keep this heatsink on it until we're ready to use it. So Mitch and I will remove that heatsink when we're ready to work on the black helicopter case. That's when this is going to come off. But it's not really going to matter because it won't be turned on again. Once I'm done with it tonight, it's going to be powered off and another machine goes on the bench. This won't see power again until it's in the motherboard. When it's in the case. What else can I tell you? I think that's it. Any questions? Can Windows updates override the Intel drivers? I think Windows updates is only going to offer you an update if the version is newer than the one you currently have. So the only way this gets to be a problem, and this can happen sometimes, is the numbering convention can change. And so Windows will say, well, you know, the latest version is 15 and you're on version 7. But it turns out that the official numbering system is this and what Intel's update is using is. That sometimes happens. Then you have to look at the dates to figure out which one's newer. And that's when things get really confusing. For the most part, if Windows Update, let me put it this way, if Windows Update says there's an Intel update, after you just did Intel updates, it seems unlikely, but just go ahead and let it do it. I'd say, let Windows Update do it. Then go back to Windows Update again and check it. It should say no more updates. Great. Now go back to the Intel driver update page and refresh. There's a little refresh button and let it scan your hardware again. And if Intel has a newer driver of anything on your system, regardless of Windows Update, it's going to offer it to you. So if that comes up clean, you're good. So it's a non-issue. You grab them both. I wonder if this thing's asking me to reinstall the video driver again, because it's been doing that. Yeah, it is. You know what? I'll do it one more time. This seems to be, they got a bug. If only I didn't decline that user experience, they would know. I suspect they know. I'm going to install it one more time. The second install, it happens a lot faster. It's probably already in there, but I'll click next, and then it's going to restart again because we just redid what we already did. And guess what? When it starts up again, it's going to restart that install again. Only the next time it does it, and in fact, I should have did it the first time, but that's OCD, is just hit cancel. When you hit cancel, it's done. It won't bother you ever again. So not the worst bug in the world, but a little annoying. Am I going to work on tomorrow's motherboard tonight? Carlos, tomorrow's motherboard was done earlier in the week. I guess I didn't film it. I was up till about 3 o'clock in the morning prepping motherboards. I did 3 motherboards that evening. I think I started around 7 o'clock in the evening, and then I went till 3 in the morning, which is what, 8 hours? And a lot of it was just waiting on Windows updates. If I had multiple benches, the minute I start Windows Update on one computer, I could have been building the next one and then revisited to restart this one, go back to Windows Updates. You know what I'm saying? Well, I was building the next one, and then by the time that one's ready to get Windows Updates, this one should be about done. You know, grab the drivers, then power it off, then bring another one, put it up here, start Windows Updates on that one, and then start again on another build up back on this bench. That's the way I'm used to working. When I was in a shop, you know, there was sort of an amount of pride with how many you could do in a day. So, well, one thing was processing. We immediately went to, I immediately went to something else. I would rather keep myself busy than stare at a screen going 10%, 14%, 30%, 74%, 74%, 74%. You know what I'm saying. That is, yeah, try that on a scale of like, 10,000. How many computers do you think I've worked on in my life? Imagine how many times I've seen 10%. So ideally have another bench, start working on something else so I don't have to torture myself with that. Let's see where we're at with this one. Yeah, it wants to install the video driver again, so I'm going to hit cancel. And then I'm going to go back. Yes, am I sure? I'm sure. I'll go back over here to the Windows Update Assistant. There it is. Check for new drivers. Opens the browser. And it didn't look like it scanned, so right over here I hit refresh results. Now it's scanning. We're good. There's no driver updates recommended. I'll put Uncle Carey's Windows 10 Optimizer on there because he wants to be like the rest of the cool kids. So that's just on a flash drive I'm going to plug in here. This is available for sale if you want it. You could do everything this optimizer does with registry tweaks with your mouse and keyboard, but this just does it a lot faster. And I didn't really make it to sell it. I made it because I was getting tired of going through the same routines. And then if I got distracted, I couldn't remember what I hadn't done yet. And then I would start over from the beginning. So this tool saves me the effort as well as saves me a lot of time and ensures every machine with Windows 10 has the same optimizations consistently for every customer every time. So what I do is just double click on that and click yes, and then I click apply. Everything is already pre-selected. If you try to run this tool again, it scans the settings that it's changing and says you already have all the right settings or recommended settings. You have to restart for that to take effect. I'm going to leave this screen on so you can watch a live restart and gauge how fast or how slow this system is to reboot. so that it's as if it's on your monitor right now. If you went full screen, this would look like your computer was booting right now. And we'll see, does this seem like it boots faster than yours? That's all I want to know. We're up. If I try to run the Windows 10 optimizer right now, if I double click, you'll see it's intelligent enough to know that we've already optimized the system. So after a few Windows updates, Microsoft might reset some of these settings. And if so, there'll be little checkboxes available. And of course, the software won't say you don't need to run it. With the black boxes, what this tells you is if you want to reverse any of these settings, if you don't like one of my optimizations, then you're a complete idiot. But besides that, you can undo it and reverse it by simply is it a right click or just a regular click? It's a right click. It says undo this specific optimization. See? So the black box means you already have it. Maybe we should make that green. But basically it's saying that's good. And that's how that utility works. Does it make a big difference? Depends on the system. On some systems, it may make a notable difference. On other systems, probably not. But it's not going to hurt it. And these optimizations may make slight improvements that a human being wouldn't notice. It could be milliseconds, nanoseconds faster. And since it doesn't hurt anything, why not just do it to every computer? That's the way I see it. And then I always take care of whatever the warnings are on the antivirus here, dismiss whatever that wants, or if it wants to turn on the control for the app app and browser control. And then we can run Prime 95 on it and see how well this cooler works on a 9900K. And then that'll wrap it up for tonight. So let's see, PC testing software. Prime 95. Hardware monitor. These are free apps, by the way. You can just Google these and download them. They're both portable apps, or they have portable versions. We'll start the hardware monitor to monitor the temps on the computer right now before we start Prime 95 and torture the hell out of it. And we'll do that for about 15 or 20 minutes. Oh, we already did that. Again, I'm not going to use this cooler in the final build, but I want to know for future reference. All right, so we've kicked that off. Let me start my timer on my phone. I always start the timer, rather the stopwatch, not the timer. I always start the stopwatch after I start the test. I want the test to run a little bit longer than the actual official time I'm testing, just to give it a little extra torture, because I'm feeling a little extra cruel to the CPU and cooler today. So when we look at our temps now, if I can get the window on top, we have an 8-core processor on a 10900K, and it's hyper-threaded, so it looks like it's got 16 cores. And for each of those cores, it's running 100% pedal to the metal, and you'll see it's hitting its 5 gigahertz limit here. If we look at the temps of each core, remember there's 8 cores. Well, it only says 7. Well, that's because they started with the number 0. So 0 to 9 is 10 numbers. 0 to 7 is 8. Because 0 is 1. Hold on. Never mind. Let's keep an eye on these temps. The highest we're hitting right now looks like about 63 degrees centigrade. I want to make sure this stays at or below 85 centigrade on an Intel chip. The throttling will kick in at 100 degrees centigrade. So by stopping at 85, that means if there's some weird scenario that's more torturous than what I'm doing to it for the next 15 or 20 minutes, that could possibly make it get even hotter, it can still go another 15 degrees before it'll have a problem. So that's pretty damn bulletproof in my opinion. So that's one of the tests I do and why I do it. Because if this computer can have flat out 100% usage across every single core and every single thread for 15 to 20 minutes non-stop with no problems, no heat issues, then I think nothing the customer does to this computer is going to equal anywhere near that amount of stress or resource, at least as far as the CPU goes. It seems highly unlikely. And therefore, it seems highly unlikely that the customer would call me and say, this computer's running hot. So I don't just build it and throw it out, it's built, kick it out the door, and we'll deal with the ones that come back that overheat. No, I make sure it's not overheating so it doesn't have to get kicked back. And then by testing different coolers, right, I've done the Mugen 5 on this, and I know it got hot on the Mugen 5. So much so I changed it. Now this radiator is much smaller than the Mugen 5, so I would think it's not going to cool as well. But I don't know that it's not made of the same materials or what the bottom, because the bottom of the Noctua seems highly polished compared to the bottom of the Scythe. So just physics, I would think the Scythe would cool better because it's bigger. And we're up to 70 degrees Celsius or centigrade, depending on how old you are. And we are in 3.5 minutes of the test. Is it getting hot in here? Feel a little sweat coming down. We'll let that run, and I'm going to go back to, well, let's see what's going on in the chat. I'm just going to read the chat here for a minute. Wow, looks like Jimmy Walbert sent in a $100 contribution. He says, just because I'm still here. If I can catch you live, I usually like to just kick back and listen. Wish we could chat someday. I know you're busy, though, as a working tech myself. Since discovered your YouTube channel, you've made me look at and analyze myself. Okay, I guess it's starting to turn a little personal, so I won't read that out loud. He says, thank you. Well, I guess we'll have to talk, Jason. Or Jimmy, did I say Jason? Jimmy, you and I will have to talk. No problem. I will send you my phone number. Thank you. It's very generous of you. Very kind. And I'm glad to hear that I have inspired you and encourage you in the PC IT field. Okay, we are now at nearly 6 minutes. And how is this cooler holding it up? It hasn't moved. We're still at 70 degrees maximum temp. You'll see 3 temps here. There's the current temp, which is this. Well, the current status is this first row. The minimum, or in this case, the minimum temperature, since we started the software, before we started Prime 95, and while the computer was idle, it was sitting at these temps. And the maximum temp it's hit so far is here on the right. So it looks like 71 is the maximum after nearly 7 minutes. And we're going to go ahead and let it run, torture it for a full 20. And then I'll know in the future if I can recommend this Noctua cooler on a 9900K, because I have 4 more of them to build, and this is going to help me determine which cooler I use on those upcoming builds. So I have a personal interest in the results of this test. I'll go back to camera 1. We'll switch back and forth a little bit because that's super exciting. Hey, there's Jimmy Walbert in the chat room. Hey, Jimmy. I'll reply to your PayPal, and I'll include my phone number in it, and then we'll figure out a time. We'll chat. It's all good. Thank you. James Duffy says, hi, Carey. At work, I normally have 4 computers and 4 or 5 laptops going at the same time. Yeah. 4 computers connected to a KVM switch and 6 laptops across my workbench. Yeah. That's the kind of guy I want to come work for me right there. That's what I'm looking for. And then I set fire to each one of them. Hold on, wait, what? Chris says, do you install the motherboard chipset drivers from the manufacturer's website, or is it covered by the Intel or Windows update? The Windows update is going to give you the chipset drivers. The Intel driver update will offer you chipset drivers if it has newer ones. Typically, after you do a new install with Windows Update, you're getting the latest through Windows Update. But as time goes by, and in between Windows Updates, because Windows Updates are typically the second Tuesday of every month, well, if Intel comes out with a chipset driver, and they give it to Microsoft to include in Windows Update, the very soonest Microsoft is going to offer that to you is the second Tuesday of the month. So if you want it before that, the Windows Driver Updater tool will alert you to it, and you can click on it and grab it just like I did that video driver. And I do believe that is one of the main reasons why I don't suffer the Windows Update problems many people complain about, because I make sure all the drivers are current before I do a Windows Update. Like if there's a driver waiting to install and a Windows Update waiting to install, which one do you think I'm going to do first? Might be getting a little condescending. I'm just trying to make a point. And that will never change. That's the process. For every computer, new, repair, a computer I've never seen before, that is the process, and that's why. Okay, how are we doing now? Did it catch fire yet? Oh, I can't see the screen, it's too small. I'm looking at the mouse to move, and I'm looking at the wrong mouse. Okay, full screen. Now I can see, oh, hasn't done anything. We're still at 71 and 10.5 minutes into the test. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. I don't know where to put it. Yeah, keep it to yourself. Okay, so we'll just put it right there. Then you get both. 11 minutes into the test. I can't see it, it's too small. So if it goes crazy, somebody's gonna have to say something. And I'll pull the pin on the fire extinguisher. I'm sure it's gonna be fine. Nabosa, is it Nabosa? Nabosa says the mods are on their game tonight. Yes, they are. Absolutely. Thank goodness. Love it. I'm telling you, man, I used to have to deal with all that all by myself. Having your help on that is very much appreciated. We're at a little over 12 minutes, so got a couple minutes to go. And then the end result of this will be the end of the video. What do you think is going to happen? Is it going to hit 85? Will it exceed 85? Will it hit 80? Place your bets. What's the hottest you think this chip is going to get after 20 minutes? Put it in the chat room if you're brave enough and bold enough to risk your pride. Oh, here we go. I'm getting a name pronunciation instruction. This is important. Naboisha. It's Naboisha Botic. Is it Botic? Naboisha. Naboisha. I didn't mean to mispronounce your name. I didn't know how to pronounce your name. Couldn't you have an easy name like SSD M.2 NVMe? PCIe Gen 4x4? You do something simple like that? Matt's guessing the max of 75. Earl says a max of 77. Greg thinks 76. Paul thinks 75. We're talking maximum temp. You think it's going to be no more than 75 degrees Celsius after 20 minutes of 100% core usage on all 8 cores and all 16 threads. 79 is Stealth Mode's guess, and 78 is Michael McFarland's guess. Everybody's staying in the 70s, huh? Nobody thinks it's going to hit 80. A lot of people think mid to upper 70s. Stealth Mode says 89. Now there's a guy that separates himself from the crowd. I like that. Mortmont thinks 85. He thinks it's going to hit the limit. But most people are staying between that 75 and 78 range, it looks like. That seems to be the popular consensus of the group. And let's see how MobThink is. Is it accurate? Should we join into MobThink? Should we think what most people think? Well, this is going to decide and end that question forever. We are running at 14 minutes, 41 seconds. Whoops, I picked the wrong thing here. Camera 2. I have to make it full screen so I can see it. Where's my temps? So highest is 72 right now. Remember though, we're just crossing over 15 minutes. So the test has been going 15 minutes. We're going to go 5 more minutes. And this, if something's going to happen, this is traditionally when it happens. Usually between the, like, I'd say before the 17-minute mark. It usually happens pretty quickly here. So we'll keep an eye on it, see if it jumps at all. I have to say, I do believe that this Noctua cooler is performing better than the bigger Scythe Mugen 5. And I don't understand why, but I would still have to confirm it, meaning I would need to put a Scythe Mugen 5 on here and run this test again on the same machine with the same software, with the same configuration, in the same room, and see how the Mugen 5 performs in comparison. But my memory recalls the Scythe Mugen 5 allowing the thing with the chip to hit 85 and then me shutting it down because I was getting a little nervous. I seem to recall that on the 9900K on a build I did back at the kitchen. But maybe I'm remembering it wrong, or maybe it's a different chip. I'm not sure. But right now it is climbing a little. We see 74, 75, 76, and we're just at 16 minutes in the test. So I told you it happens, scales up pretty quickly. I hear the fan starting to crank up a little bit on the cooler. We're at 16 and a half minutes. It's still got to torture it another 3.5 minutes, folks. So 78 is our maximum right now. That gives me still a good 7 degrees from the ceiling that I am setting. So as far as I'm concerned, it can go to 83, 84. I'm fine. But I'm also fine with it staying at 78. Or it just crossed over 17 minutes. Ooh, I see a 79. I see 81, 83. Things got interesting. 84, 85. We are 17 and a half minutes into the test. I'm going to let it go. We'll see how high it's going to go after 20 minutes. We're 17 and a half minutes in, 2.5 minutes to go. And we are torturing this brand new CPU. And we are beating this heatsink. This heatsink, Scotty, I need more cooling. All right, but Captain, I'm giving her all she's got. She's breaking up. We need more dilithium crystals. She's gonna blow. All right, I don't know what that was. 18 minutes, just a minute and a half left to go, a little over that. 85 is the maximum. Remember, I said I will not send that off to a customer if that number gets any bigger. That is the line that cannot be crossed. This is the make it or break it line, and it's riding the edge. It's a little daredevil. It's a troublemaker. It's like, I'm not touching you. It's right there, right there. And again, it's just one of the cores that's doing that, not all of them. There's one core that's hotter than all the others. Well, there's two cores that are a bit hotter than the others. But I just need one core to overheat. Well, my definition of overheating is breaking that 85 degree line. We're just over 19 minutes, letting it continue to run. I want to see if we're going to exceed that. We're going to go the full 20 minutes according to my stopwatch, which is more than 20 minutes of the software running, for the record. "30 seconds. It's dancing right on the line. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 87. Fails. This is not a recommended cooler for this chip. I mean, you see how far you have to push the chip for that to happen, but it's unacceptable. And I thought this cooler wasn't going to be adequate for that. However, unless you're pushing the chip hard, you would never have a problem. But I don't want to build a system where I go, hey, the system's really super fast, but don't take it really fast for a very long time or it might break apart. Like, I don't want to do that. So I wouldn't recommend this cooler for a 9900K. In case you were wondering. And now we know why. Okay. That's going to wrap it up for me tonight. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and joining me as I am experimenting with bringing you the videos in a different way. Right? I think today's video is a little different than what it's been lately. And that's just the way I am. I just have to mix things up sometimes. I want to make videos that I want to watch. And the last few I've made, I don't even want to watch. So for me, this was done really for me to just as an outlet to get it out and just have some fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I wouldn't goof around like this on a customer's build. This is just for the channel, and the whole point of it is to have fun. But I hope if you have never built your own computer that you will consider doing it. It's super easy to do. There's folks here in the community that can help you if you have any questions, and it's one of the most satisfying feelings that no one can ever describe to you that you are going to feel the first time you turn it on and it boots. And I'm telling you, it'll be the best computer, the quietest, it'll be the fastest, it'll be the most reliable, it'll last the longest because you built it, you did it, you picked the right parts, you picked good parts. You put them in there correctly, you hooked them up correctly. And if there's any problem, you're not going to be intimidated like, I don't know what's in there, you know, what is this? You know exactly what's in there, and you'll be able to dive right into it and say, okay, well, you know, maybe I need to change this RAM module. You'll pop that out. You'll be fully independent and empowered because of the computer that you built, which likely, as I mentioned, won't have any problems at all. Because if you build it the way I show you and the way I recommend, you won't build crap and you won't build it wrong. It's super easy. And if you do have any problems, I love hearing about actual problems people have. I get a lot of theoretical problems people might have. Hey, Carey, what would happen if, man, I hate those questions. You know why? Because it's super easy for you to answer that yourself. Do it and see, and then let me know. So for the people who actually do something and then have a question as a result of attempting to do something or doing something, I love those questions. For the people who are thinking about doing something and they're asking questions for reassurance, or I don't know, well, could I do this or could I do that? Or you can do whatever you want to do. That's not for me to say. So I hope you answer the could use questions in your own head and don't ask anybody else. And the answer should always be, yes, I can. And if you run into a problem, we have an entire community here who can help you. And you likely won't need help. Likely you're going to put it together exactly like I show you, and it's going to work exactly like I show you. But in a rare circumstance where it doesn't, you've got a support here that's unlike any manufacturer on the face of the planet. You've got the world's best support and most responsive. You don't have to wait 3 business days for an answer. People will make suggestions for you. And then through that you learn, you'll say, oh, okay. And then once you figure it out, and you will figure it out, you will have learned something. What? Oh, that's the worst that can happen, is you'll learn something. So whatever your hesitation is, if you haven't done it, do it. Do it. I'm telling you, nobody has ever said they regretted doing it. Maybe one person, maybe one. It's very, very unusual. Most people wish they had done it sooner and want to do it again. And it cannot be explained. It's something you must experience for yourself. If you don't do it, you'll never know what the rest of us are referring to. So, build it. Take pictures of it. Share those pictures with us. Show us what you built. Come in the chat room. Tell us what you built. Tell us what parts you picked. Tell us why you picked them. That's good conversation. Builds community. We're all enthusiasts about that. All right, so thank you again for everybody who contributed. Like I said, I lost the earlier contributions, the main list. But to those I can see here, Stealth Mode, Rick Hubbard, Michael McFarlane, Aaron Warner, and Michael Dane, Master Singleton, Peter Laycock, Rudiger Luthi, and Sylvan Bursudo. Let's see, there's Trent, Joe Bush, Go Shadow, AC's drafting a couple of very generous contributions. Thank you, AC, Aaron. Frump99, Planet Cryos, thank you for all your contributions. Jack, thank you so much. Very generous individual. Thank you for continuing to support the channel and being a member here of the community. Denny McGrath, thank you. David, Mark Hunter, JC Robertson, Adam Tyner, Fabian Barth, Red Dragon, Michael Dane. Again, from Planet Cryos, AC's Drafting, Harvey's Party. Planet Cryos again, Mike Britton, Go Shadow, Juan the Panda. I didn't see, did I see Juan's contribution? Funny part is the guy either wasted money on bots or spent time setting on. Oh, okay. Sorry I missed that, Juan, but thank you for the contribution. Barry Russ, Fabian Barth again, Go Shadow. And then the first one I have listed here is Mike Britton. Wow, that was a lot. Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for helping to support the show here. And join us, I hope you'll join us being Mitch Morrison and myself. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll plan on starting at 1 o'clock Arizona time. I don't know what time zone you're in and what the time difference is. Just go to Google and say, what time is it right now in Arizona? And then look at your clock. That's the time difference between me and you. You can totally answer that question. We'll be here, we're planning to be here at 1 o'clock tomorrow, Arizona time, and we're going to build in that round, weird computer case for tomorrow's build. I hope you'll join us. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all again very, very soon. Until then, bye for now.